Hey guys, Bree here from Mishawaka Crochet. Last week we talked about the new book I was waiting to arrive in the mail, and it is here. So, who's here for a little unboxing and a little book review? Stay tuned. Hey, welcome back. And if you've been following me for a moment, you know that I'm on a crochet art journey. I want to explore doing things that are like outside the normal realm of like sweaters, hats, gloves, scarves, and I want to crochet art. So I went ahead and I ordered a book from Amazon about yarn bombing. Last week's video I talked about what yarn bombing was and the things I learned so far, which is a little bit, but not a whole lot. So I'm hoping this right here is gonna help me learn more. So this is huge. So, I mean, it feels like the book's only like maybe from here to here, but this is an awful big package just for a book. So let's open this up and check this book out. Just making sure everything's out of there. We've got our receipt, our order form. All right. So this is what it looks like. Crochet with London Kaye. That's the front. Here's the back. Wow, there are so many amazing things. Let me hold this up and then I'll let you take a quick look at it and then I'm going to talk about it. What I see so far. So make sure you see the front and the back. Wow. So this is just based on the back. There are so many things that I think are just so cool. Especially this right here. This like pipe coming out with the fake water coming out, the crocheted water. I love that. So I started following London Kaye and her work is just amazing. I should definitely go ahead and link down in the description like to her Instagram because her stuff is just so impressive. Wow, I love that you open it up and there's just a blast of color right there. Instead of just being plain white, a blast of color. I love that. That's such a pretty color. Look at that. Oh, anyways. So this book, like I bought it used on Amazon. I mean, there's like, this is a little rough looking here. The corners are a little rough. But I mean, it's a nice hardcover and book and I'm excited. So I'm going to just tell you what I'm seeing here because I can't show you the whole book. I mean, you should go out and buy it yourself if you want it. All right, table of contents. We have an index. We have Crochet 101. What is yarn bombing? How to crochet shapes. How to crochet the alphabet. Indoor projects, outdoor projects, yarn bombs, about the artist, and acknowledgements. So I'm just kind of curious because I want to know like what is yarn bombing? Like what's her I want to know what is her definition of yarn bombing. So I'm going to flip right to that page and take a little look here. Okay. Now, this is from the book. It says, yarn bombing is the act of covering objects or structures with crocheted or knitted material. Typically, yarn bombing is done in a public place, but it can also be done indoors. Oh, see, I never even thought about it. Like, it's as silly as that is to say. I never thought about, like, actually, like, yarn bombing something indoors. Like, everything I picture is always outdoors. So it's kind of, you know, it's funny how just reading that little bit like really just gets the creative juices going. Anyways, it says, I love yarn bombing because it's a way to bring unexpected joy to people's day. And I mean, look at that picture there. That is beautiful. And can you imagine if you made something like this? People would love taking their picture in front of it. At least I would. No, I would love it. So let me tell you, I want to talk about like what I want to learn about yarn bombing, what I'm hoping is in this book, and then I'm going to take some time to actually read through the book, and then I'm going to come back with like a review. So this isn't just an unboxing. I will be adding on to this. I probably will not be wearing the same shirt. My hair will not look the same because my curls never look the same, like ever. Anyway, so what I'm hoping to learn about yarn bombing, for one of my biggest things is like how do people attach like their beautiful pieces of artwork? How do they attach them to things? Like, are they always sewing things? Because like I imagine like if you were gonna put like some, like let's say a telephone pole, you crochet, you're gonna cover the telephone pole. Like, how are they keeping that yarn in place? Like, are they using like a lot of elastic? So it like, or are they sewing it on to things? Are they using zip ties? I'm curious about like methods of sticking things to things. And like these, the shoes on the front here. Like, how are they sticking this yarn to the shoes? Are they sewing it on? Are they hot gluing it on? Like, that's one of the biggest things I want to know. And, you know, like tips and tricks of planning, like what's the thought process that goes into these things? Like, are people like, is this something you're doing in the middle of the night? Are you running out and like doing this in secret? Or are people out in the open daylight like, hey, look at me, I'm yarn bombing this? Like, because it is kind of illegal and it's kind of considered like graffiti. So, I mean, my biggest thing though, like I'm after is like, how are you attaching the yarn to the things you're covering? Like, that's one of the biggest things I want to know. Because like, I understand basic, you know, shaping, and it's kind of nice though that she's going to, you know, teach you more about shaping, because you can always learn more. You know, there's always, you know, different ways to do things. You know, maybe the way you do it is better than the way that somebody else is going to show you. Maybe their way is better. You know, you got to go into it with an open mind. But anyways, so I am going to be back in a little bit with a review after I read through the book and see what all is in it and let you know my thoughts if it's worth buying the book or not. All right, so I've officially read through Lynn & Kaye's book. Let's see how many pages that was. It was 175 pages, but it was something I went through quickly in an afternoon because there's a lot of pictures, and like I skimmed the patterns, but I didn't read every single like word. I didn't work up the patterns, obviously. So it was something I sat on my porch. I flipped through the pages and read, and it was really cool to see like all of her work in this was just amazing. I have a lot of takeaways from this. For one, I love that she calls it soft graffiti. Like, I thought the idea of soft just kind of invokes those thoughts of like cozy and creativity, and this book is one that will get your creative juices flowing. It was very inspiring because you get to see her work, and then each of like the things that she shows, she also like gives you like about a paragraph of information about it. Like maybe it was like telling the backstory a little bit of, you know, there was like this festival in town, and you know, this was something she created for it, or you know, talking about like getting to partner with companies, and you know, her work being displayed through, you know, through like brand deals like that. I thought it was just really interesting. I mean, I'm going to show the back again, but I loved seeing all the different creations and all the colorfulness, and it just really, for me, like after looking at this, I'm like, yeah, I got to get out there. I got to try this. Now, there are some patterns in here, which I thought was nice from the standpoint that gives you like somewhere to start. In fact, like these shoes that are on the front, she tells you like how you can transform a pair of shoes with crochet. And this is something I think I would like to do sometime in the future, because like for me, I'm one of those people, I've always had big feet. And so like I get really limited on the shoes I can find. I thought it'd be so cool to have a pair of shoes that are cutesy and customized. So I think that's something I definitely want to try sometime in the future. Probably not in the super near future, but definitely in the future. As I mean, just this alone is so cool. Also, let's see. Also, I thought I should bring up that the patterns are, you know, fairly precise, and like they tell you stitches and everything like that. But they're not super precise in a way of like it gives you like yarn amounts and stuff. That can be which is a little tricky. I mean, if I'm buying something, I didn't buy this for the patterns. Like, if you're buying this for the patterns, yes, you will get something out of it. But she also has free patterns on her website, too. That's another thing to keep in mind. I'll have to link down in the description her website and her Instagram. So if you want to go check any of this out. But something, like I said, keep in mind, if you do, buy this and you want to get patterns, yes, there's a decent amount of patterns in here. Well, that will get you started. But they are not, they're not extremely precise in the way of, like, it tells exact amounts of yarn and everything like that. Like, she'll tell you the size it's supposed to be, like, what materials you'll need. She'll tell you, like, to double strand it. She'll tell you your hook. She tells you all the tools in that way. When it comes to the patterns in this book, I think that they're a great place to get you started. They're going to inspire you to, to branch out and do more. And it gives you a few things to get started to build up that confidence. One thing to keep in mind, though, is there isn't always, like, exact amounts. There are not always, like, exact amounts of yarn or exactly this many chains to get started. I mean, she will tell you something like, chain, like, with double-stranded, weight 4 yarn, chain until you reach 65 inches, for instance. But she doesn't tell you exactly how many chains that's going to be. So that's something to keep in mind, that if you're somebody who wants very precise things and you're looking to not, necessarily do things in, like, a creative, kind of like from your own mind kind of way, then this may not be the book for you. If you can find it enjoyable to, like, not have those exact amounts, be able to just flow with it and be creative, then I think that, you'll be fine. Like, you have to, like me, I have to be in the right mindset for that. I have to know going into it, this is what I'm getting into, because I'm typically I want to know the amount of chains. I want to know the gauge, blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm not going to tell you I do a gauge swatch every time. Shame on me. But I will tell you that, like, I do try. Also, that being said about, it not being, like, super exact in science, you do need some crochet knowledge going into it. Like, you are going to need to know how to do the basics. Now, she does, explain it to some extent. Like, in the very beginning, she does have a Crochet 101 section. But I myself would not have been able to figure this out from what's offered in the book. Because I'm a visual person, yes, there are pictures, but it's not, like, I need to see the movement. Like, I am visual, I need to see, like, I need the video form. And obviously this is a book, you're not getting video form. Keep that in mind. If, you think this is a book you're able to pick up and learn how to crochet, maybe you will be able to. If from this kind of, picture tutorial, you can figure that out. If you're that kind of person, I am not. You might be able to figure it out, but I would not be able to. So going into it, you may want, a little bit of crochet knowledge. One of the questions going into this book that I really had was, like, is she going to tell exactly, how does she attach things? Because, like, I wondered, like, is she using zip ties? Is she tying it? Like, is she bring extra yarn with her? Or they, glue gun? And she talks about that in the book. And she tells, like, her methods of attaching things. Now, one thing specifically, I don't remember seeing in the book that I really want to know. I know she had done, like, a crochet cover for, like, a car for, like, Hallmark. And I was like, how did she attach that? Because it's, like, it looks very good. It looks very precise to me. Like, around the wheel wells and, all those spots where the crochet should stop. And I never did quite figure that out, how she did it. But that's something, as I get deeper into this, I can research and find out, how is something like that done. So I definitely took a lot from this, and I feel like it answered a lot of questions, but it also, challenged me to get deeper into it, because there are, a few things I drew from it that I'd like to learn more about. All in all, I think this is a good, solid book. And if you can get if you're interested in yarn bombing and you're, like, super new to that kind of scene like I am, like, how to crochet, but you're super new to the yarn bombing, I think this would be something worth picking up, because it will definitely give you, you know, a lot of knowledge. Now, is this going to be a book that you're going to go back to, you know, year after year after year? Maybe, maybe not. Because once you kind of master all these things, I feel like, you know, maybe you'd come back and want to pick it up to go through like pattern or something like that. So if you're, you know, if you're somebody who's not going to want to come back to this year after year, maybe even check your local library. Because if your library doesn't have it, maybe they can borrow it from another library for you. I feel like this is something you could borrow from the library, take home, you know, have like your 2 weeks to read it. You know, you could draw a lot from it. I personally like to, you know, if I find something that's a good quality book, I like to have a physical copy of my own, because I like to be able to reference things. Because you know, you can always forget things, or it's a good one to pick up and just get re-inspired. Like maybe you don't need to, like maybe you got the skills mastered, you don't need to go back to this book to learn things, but you can pick it up, look through it, and it will bring, you know, inspiration to you. Overall, I would definitely recommend this book, and I hope you stick around with me on this little journey I'm getting ready to take into yarn bombing. So this is now I'm kind of in the planning process and trying to figure out what I want to make. So until next week, take care.